waterfall arpeggio. This is a term I use to describe something that Bobby Hicks, the bluegrass fiddle player, uses a ton in his playing. It's a great way to tag a lick or tag the end of your solo, and it can be done in many different keys. It's also a great way to fill in spaces or play in your backup. So let's look at this waterfall arpeggio in each key. As you can see, they're easy to string together as well if you want to go from one key to the next. All right, so let's start with the key of A. That's a pretty accessible one. Start with the note A. Well, maybe I should describe the pattern for this waterfall arpeggio as down an arpeggio. That's where we get the term arpeggio from. All right, so the arpeggio, of course, is the root, third, and fifth. This is just a major arpeggio. Of course, you could do it on other arpeggios too, but this one's, most of what he uses is major. So we're going down the A arpeggio here. That's the third finger on the E string, open E, and C sharp. That's the first part of this pattern. And then the next part of the pattern is from that note, you're going to climb up to the next note. So basically you're going down an arpeggio and then you're doing one note step up to the next arpeggio note. So the next one, same idea. Until you run out of notes basically on your instrument is how you could do that. So he's only played this in a few keys, but I liked the idea enough that I learned it in all the different keys. So I'd like to share that with you. That's how you play it in A. I'll have PDFs of this too if you're a reader. You can also watch my fingers closely here. So again, it's just that pattern of down the scale, climbing up one note to the next note, to the next note of the arpeggio. So the next arpeggio is E, C sharp, and open A. Then we climb up to the next note of the arpeggio, which is C sharp. And we're going to go down our arpeggio from here. Now, climbing up from a note E to A, I have two options. I have the F sharp or the G sharp note. So I had to ask myself, what sounds better? Well, Bobby Hicks might use, either, but I think more often than not, he uses the note right above the E note, which is an F sharp. So like that. And everything else is, you only have one option. Just like that. So that's the arpeggio in A, and also kind of how the pattern works. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the other ones so you can kind of see my fingers on them, and you can look at the PDF as well, or slow this down if you want to learn these in each of the keys. So I'll do G next, starting on the note G. Climbing down a G arpeggio. So G, the D, B, and climbing up to D. Then down an arpeggio. Climbing up to B. Open D. Climbing up to G. Climbing up to D. Alright, so I'll play that just nice and slowly. I'll do the key of F. I start on the F note, the low 1 on the E string. That's an arpeggio down, F natural, C, open A. And climbing up, but in the key of F we have a B flat. So that's how we climb up to the C note. Arpeggio down, open A to F, climbing up to A. Now down the arpeggio again, F and C. The middle note between C and F is an open D. And then you can do one more, B flat. And if you had that C string like Bobby Hicks did, you can play that low F as well. So anyway, here's that slowly. so that's the key of A, G, and F. We can also get E starting on our open string. So that's E, B on the A string, and G sharp on the D string. Climbing up. That's a B, G sharp, E. Climbing up. G sharp, E, B. C sharp is an extended or a high 3. And if you wanted to do the last one, it'd be like this. You got a G sharp low down there. Now, we're starting lower now. There's actually other notes of the E arpeggio, like G sharp and B. So you don't have to start these arpeggios on the root. In fact, as we get to this next few, we won't start on the root. If you wanted to start on just the highest note that you could play in the E arpeggio, it would actually be this B note. That's kind of how you can play it across first position. So anyway, that's A, G, F, and E. Here's D, which you could start on the note D, and it would be identical in fingering to the first one we did. If you want to get more notes in there, you can start on the A note on the E string, which would be the 5th of the D chord. So that's D there, and then C, same idea. C would follow the same fingering as G if you started on the root. But you can start on the G, which would be the next highest note you can play, which is the 5th. Same idea as before. Again, this gives you more kind of time to cover with notes. So that's C. What are some other keys? Let's do B flat and B. They should follow pretty much the same fingering, just B flat. You can't use your open string. So let's start with B. We can start on the B note, the 4th finger on the E string. So we're going to go B, F sharp, D sharp. Then you can climb up with your open E. Skipping down to F sharp. Then G sharp is that middle note. And now here we kind of have to go to half position to finish it. To the D sharp. You can end with either a 2, stretch your 2 up to that B, or use 3 if you're in half position. Oftentimes people end on 2 so that they can kind of do a tag lick. Some, kind of cliche bluegrass lick there. Alright, and then finally B flat, which is mostly the same there, except you can't use your open E because we have E flats. So that would look like this. We just use our 4th finger there. Alright, so you can have fun maybe connecting some of these, like if you use them in a 1-4-5. And you can throw them in your backup or in at the end of your solos and tags and things like that. So that's the reason why I took the time to learn these in different keys. Hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or other things that you love, that you hear a lot from fiddle players, I'd be happy to cover them. So let me know in the comments. Thanks.